Now, this is a lawyer by profession, but of course, he's become quite popular through multiple takes of his on various topics, especially on social media. J Sai Deepak has found himself on the center of another controversy now. But should there be a controversy is the question that we're going to ask today. The lawyer was invited by the BAR Council of Karnataka to address the gathering on the UCC issue. The panel chose him as a speaker because of his profession, not his ideology. But before the event, a group of lawyers went ahead and wrote to the State BAR Council asking them not to give a platform to a hate monger. The lawyers have cited several controversial remarks made by him in the past, claiming that Sai Deepak had even gone on to say that all non-Hindus must leave India as it's not their motherland. Now, politics, as expected, crept into the controversy. Congress leader Rizwan Arshad, calling Sai Deepak an anti-minority voice, said that no authority should to be given to such a reception. Let's listen first.
See, it's a joke that one guy who is a proponent of Hindutva and who is anti-minority, anti-thinking of Dalits and backwards communities, is being called to talk on UCC, which means Uniform Civil Code, when his mindset and his ideology itself is not uniform and inclusive. How is he going to talk on that? That shows that UCC itself is a political agenda of the BJP and the Sangha Parivar. It is not for any other purpose, but for the purpose of elections in 2024, which they are utilizing.
Meanwhile, the BAR Council of Karnataka, though, did not buckle under any pressure. The members here say that he was invited to share his views as a lawyer, nothing else.
See, first of all, I would like to say Karnataka State Bar Council is nothing to do with the secular, rightist, leftist ideas. J Sai Deepak is going to deliver lecture today on Uniform Civil Code, not only for pros and also it cons. Pros and cons on the basis of what is the defects and what is the advantage if the UCC is coming to effect in this country. It's going as per the schedule. What is there in that?
Now, with so much hue and cry, we decided to speak to Deepak Sai himself, and who, of course, called protests against him as an attempt to silence his voice. He also called the opposition as free speech fascism, adding that he is not affiliated with any sort of political organization, and all his views are his own that he wishes to share and not impose on anybody. Sir, if you could tell us, you're here today to deliver a speech on Uniform Civil Code. The BAR Council of Karnataka has invited you, but more importantly, there's a little bit of controversy that's surrounding it. There is a lawyers forum that's gone ahead and written to the BAR Council and met the chairman as well, opposing your speech, saying that you're a person who speaks about Hindutva, you're not a secular person, various other aspects against you. What would you make of it?
Of course, I speak about Hindutva because I'm exercising my rights under the Constitution. So I don't see how that makes it unconstitutional, and I don't see how that's hate mongering. So this is a formal invitation that has been extended by the Karnataka State Bar Council. It's a very clear legal lecture on the pros and cons. So the idea was to actually balance out the entire discussion, because you see, the discussion has been going on in a very polarized tone across the country. The specific request that came from the BAR Council was that this is not a political platform. And I said, in any case, I am not a politician or a political person. And therefore, I am happy to limit the lecture only to the merits or demerits of it, the history of it and the legalities. So you see, the bulk of the audience comprises of law students from across Bangalore. And in fact, a lot of people are traveling from the rest of the Karnataka as well. So I don't see what this brouhaha is all about. I haven't heard of this organization. Seems like some kind of a nondescript organization. Nevertheless, an invitation has been extended to them to participate and attend this particular event. And if they have any questions to pose, let them do so in the event formally. They will not be gagged. At least I don't believe in gagging and stifling. But seems like they have a tendency to deplatform those people who do not share their point of view or their worldview. I'm sorry, that I think is free speech fascism, according to me.
The Congress here in Karnataka has said that probably the Bar Council should have refrained from having you. It's also taking a political overtone.
I am not affiliated with any political organization. I am not affiliated with any cultural organization. So, as an independent citizen who is a practicing advocate before the Supreme Court, my views are my views. If they happen to overlap with somebody's views, that's just a happy coincidence. In any case, I am not here to impose my views. I am here to present a panoramic picture of the entire issue. Now, when a political party chooses to inject itself into this particular situation, it should take the responsibility for turning this political. I haven't yet. So far, nothing has happened.
Well, that was a response from J Sai Deepak, Abdul Razack Khan, political analyst, Advocate Nikhil Jain, political analyst, Ashwini Kumar Dubey, advocate from the Supreme Court, Kapil Sankla, also a Supreme Court lawyer, joining us to discuss more about this. Let me, in fact, open this up with Mr. Abdul Razack Khan. A lot has been spoken. We've heard, or rather seen, the letter that has been written opposing his speech. But of course, that event has already been held. But now to really discuss about this, where does the issue lie when an advocate comes here in the capacity of an advocate, comes to the Bar Council on invitation, speaks on the topic? Now, do you think that anybody who talks about free speech should be opposing anybody who wants to come and deliver a speech, whatever his inclinations could be or whatever his background could be?
But you look at the kind of audience for whom he is going to be speaking. This man is known for his Islamophobic comments. This man is known for his hate speeches. This man is known for his hatred towards Muslims, towards the minority community. So what I'm saying is these kind of platforms should not be given to people of these kind of ideologies where, hatred is spread, venom is spewed. All that I'm saying is the AILAJ, what they have written, I stand with them. These kind of platforms should not be misused to promote their agenda. Sai Deepak's agenda, his agenda is to make this great nation a Hindu Rashtra, which cannot be tolerated by any secular and this, a person who loves this country, who would never want this country to become a Hindu Rashtra. But Sai Deepak is a crusader. He's a front runner for making this great nation a Hindu Rashtra. So if he comes here and speaks to law students, the kind of atmosphere he would be creating, the kind of venom he will be, a seed of venom that he will be seeding in the minds of these innocent law students who are going to be, the custodians of the judiciary of this country. So that's the reason why I stand with AILAJ. Sai Deepak, known for his hate comments, known for his hate ideology, shouldn't have been allowed on a platform like this to promote their agenda, their ideology, which stands against the nation.
Okay, let's bring in the two advocates from the Supreme Court, colleagues as well of Sai Deepak, Ashwini Kumar Dubey and also Kapil. Both, if I could start with Ashwini, if you could take us through whether you believe that what Mr. Abdul Razack Khan or the Lawyers Forum here has written, that what his ideology, his principles, his past antecedents of statements that he's made should have a bearing on him delivering a speech in front of the Bar Council, where there will be impressionable lawyers there, and taking his cue, you do not want a plethora of people really thinking in the same line of thought.
It is absolutely ridiculous and contrary to the constitutional provisions which one citizen of the country has to propagate, to speak. A person who is 24/7 propagating law, practicing law, can be a threat to the group of lawyers. Point two, is there any single instance, either because of this program or in past, where Mr. Sai Deepak has been a threat to the law and order? And on that ground, we would have thought that yes, people have complained. Number three, UCC finds place in the Constitution of India. In Article 44, which is the soul of our Constitution, which says that uniform state shall endure to enforce the uniform civil code in the states. And Article 37 says that the directive principles of state policy should be enforced. A person where there are a lot of debate is going on. Most of these states have taken this issue. A former Supreme Court Judge Justice Ranjana Desai has been appointed the chairperson of Uttarakhand, who is heading this Uttarakhand's Uniform Civil Code draft. And in that situation, a group of lawyers is calling a lawyer to speak on this topic. The topic which finds place, the constitution framers have seen at the time of when the constitution was being drafted. And third, the right to express one's ideas, thoughts, opinions freely, either through writing or speaking, is a fundamental rights. So if it is a fundamental rights which find place in Article 19(1)(a) of the Constitution of India, when the Constitution of India itself, when the Supreme Court too has in 2019, 2020, in Sarlar Mughal's case, in number of cases have said that why Uniform Civil Code is not being implemented, can it be a threat to a particular group of lawyers? Justice Bobde's bench, when he was as a Chief Justice, he says Goa is the shining example where the Uniform Civil Code is being practiced successfully for last 2 decades. And here, Mr. Sai Deepak, who is going there, who has been legally invited by the Bar Council, which is the statutory body, to speak on the Uniform Civil Code, and these people have complained it. I think that this is against the Constitution. Those who are opposing it, they are
Okay, let's bring in Mr. Jain. He's an advocate himself. What do you make of Yes, let's bring in Mr. Jain as well here. Nikhil, what do you make of this sort of a statement that's coming in, that this is a statutory body inviting him legally, and there is nothing wrong in him making a statement?
By Evelyn Beatrice Hall, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the depth your right to say. My point being that I don't agree with the views that J Sai Deepak propounds, but at the same time, if you were to ask me as an individual that whether his right to speech should be curtailed, I would disagree with that. That being said, it's rather rich of Mr. Dubey right now to be quoting the Constitution to protect the freedom of speech rights of an individual who openly goes against the Constitution, calls for a Hindu Rashtra, denounces secularism as bullshit. That is what he talks. That is what this individual, J Sai Deepak, calls the principle of secularism, which multiple Supreme Court judgments have held is in the foundational ethos of the Constitution as it was drafted, which today is a part of the preamble of this Constitution. At the same time, this individual has also been known to make very Islamophobic comments to the effect that Muslims are getting money to, seduce Christian women, Hindu women. God knows what kind of
Mr. Nikhil
nonsense
Jain, when we spoke to Sai Deepak, he goes on to say that he has a Q&A session post his speech. So if anybody has a problem, why not address it there? And, he's also calling it free speech fascism here.
One more thing I would like to point to your viewers, Deepak, that Advocate Harish whose bike you played from the Karnataka State Bar Council, he happened to say Karnataka Bar Council has nothing to do with the leftist secularist mentality of people. As if being secular is some sort of a slur against an individual, and I can't understand how a person who's member of the Bar Council, no other statutory body but the Bar Council.
He says he doesn't only say leftist. He says basically the idea that he was trying to put forth, Mr. Jain, because I was there to speak to him. All that he was trying to say is no ideology matters. He's saying anybody who's right-leaning, left-leaning in terms of ideology, that's not the criteria as what he was trying to say.
But you've got to read between the lines. He never said that I don't have a problem with right-wingers or leftists. His specific comments were at leftists and secularists. Why is that? Why is he talking about a single ideology? Let him talk about both ideologies. I can very clearly see that this person and some members of the Karnataka State
He did speak about both ideologies. That's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm sorry?
Okay. Let me in fact take this across to Kapil as well. Been patiently waiting. Mr. Kapil Sankla, what do you make of this? Because at this point in time, they're saying this is for political gains that such a speaker has been invited.
We will not talk about UCC or about Mr. Sai Deepak, but what is important is this, that your fundamental rights protect your freedom of expression and speech, and also put in reasonable restrictions that can be enforced by the state. Now, those checks and balances are there, and those very people who till date have been fighting and saying that their freedom of expression and speech is being taken away are the very ones who are now saying that it should be taken away from Sai Deepak as well, because they might not agree with what Sai wants to say before the audience today. Now, this association and organization says, because we don't like what he says, he should not be allowed to speak. I mean, is that reasonable? Is that proper? And is that even in not an infringement of your fundamental rights? Now, those you're trying to blow hot and cold at the same time. And those are the very people, unfortunately, who also said that my right not to stand during national anthem is my fundamental right to expression. Or what happened in Shaheen Bagh and the speeches and the Tukda argument that were being made were again my right of expression and speech as per my fundamental rights. So, I mean, you cannot do this. Thirdly and lastly, very importantly, I have heard Sai speak online. It's already there. He speaks both for and against. And he says what he fears and what he thinks and what was the historical background. So if you don't agree with him, don't stop him. What I would say is that, don't raise your voice, improve your argument. You think that you have something to say, bring in your best orator, shut him down by facts, by law, by precedents, rather than shutting him down because you do not agree with him. That is all that I have to say in the matter.
Mr. Razack Khan, you want to respond to that?
Yes. Deepak, both the lawyers are correct, Kapil and Ashwini, when they say that it is his constitutional constitution allows him to speak, it is his fundamental right. Yes, definitely, yes. Nobody is objecting to that. But what we are trying to say that we have already heard him speak on NRC, we have heard him speak on CAA. People like him were invited to Karnataka. Sample this. A BJP MP, Sadhvi Pragya Thakur, was invited to speak during elections here. What did she do? She provoked the women of Karnataka to keep weapons. There was a case against her. So what we are trying to convey is the audience that would be listening to Sai Deepak would be innocent.
Well, that's a political speech, Mr. Abdul Razack Khan. This is the BAR Council sending out an invite. I mean, can you really put them on the same pedestal here?
Deepak, I am saying it is their fundamental right to speak. Yes, even Himanta Biswa Sarma's fundamental right, Yogi Adityanath's fundamental right. They can come, they can speak. But what I am concerned about is the audience who would be listening to him. Because innocent minds would be corrupted. He would sow the seed. He would sow the seed of division in the innocent minds of these to be lawyers, to be judges, the people who would be, guarding the.
But also, I would like to ask Mr. Khan and Mr. Nikhil Jain here, because if you're opposing a speech and if you feel that he is going to really sow these seeds of poison in the minds of the people who are listening, they do have the opportunity to rebut to what he's saying, because there is a Q&A session. Absolutely. So if you rebut to every point that he's making, so that's an opportunity that's being given. So how are you saying that this is going to leave an impression on the minds of the people?
I have always believed right from childhood that prevention is better than cure. There is no point in arguing with a hate monger like Sai Deepak when he is already, spewed the venom. People will think that this is reality. This is the truth, which is what we did not want. That is the reason why I stood with the LAJ, the Association for Justice, just because the innocent minds of these to-be lawyers should not be corrupted. He would definitely sow the seed of, one nation, one Hindutva theory, and these people would think that, yes, what he's speaking is right. No doubt he's a good orator, but he should use it to build a nation rather than, dividing communities on the ideology basis.
Can I just
Mr. Sankla?
If there's time. All I want to say is that there's a Q&A session.
Go.
And there is nothing so innocent about law or lawyers. You think that you have a better argument to bring? Bring it on. That is what lawyers do. At the end of the day, we are not judgmental. We have for and against for every argument. That is how we pre and when we argue matters in High Court and Supreme Court. So instead of telling us that, these are innocent minds, they would be sullied, there is enough that is going on both ways, and there is enough muck being spread everywhere. But you can't stop the voice of reason by these conjectures and surmises that this might happen, that might happen, those might happen. Go there, go to the session, ask him for pertinent questions, and if you don't try to just stop somebody by saying that, this might hurt me or hurt my sentiment or hurt the minds of innocent people. Those innocent people will decide whether it does affect them or does not affect them, whether the argument is valid or not valid. So please don't just say that this is hate speech because it is in your thought process that this is hate speech. Somebody might not like your argument as well. That does not mean that I can shut you down. I can just change my channel. That is all there is. Do not go there, or if you go there, then have an argument against it. Don't come up with these conjectures and surmises because those are very dangerous traps. Those are traps in which a lot of other people will come in and curtail every other argument, voice of dissent, etc., etc. So therefore, as I said, don't raise your voice, improve your argument, bring it on. It is much better.
Justice has done a good job.
Okay,
by asking
Mr.
the
Jain,
Bar Association
I want.
of Karnataka not to allow him to speak. Not to allow him to speak because prevention is better than cure. All that you're saying is
Okay, I want to
accepted. Yes,
quickly,
true.
before Mr. Khan, I want Mr. Jain to come in, a last comment here, because in the past, the Bar Council has had speakers, you know, you may categorize people as right-leaning or left-leaning, but there have been speakers, of course, who've been speaking against the idea of Hindutva, various other topics, which you would say typically that it's left-leaning. Now, what happens then? Why then there were no letters written that went on smoothly? So why the objection now is the question that's also being asked? Because very recently there have been speakers.
Deepak, the problem is not between somebody being a right winger or a left winger. The problem is simply that if a person is hate mongering, they should probably not be given platform. But at the same time, so I personally had two straight about it, that the Karnataka Bar Council should have been more responsible in calling the speakers, but at the same time, it is his constitutional right to speak. Of course, if he says anything that is contrary to the law of the land, he should be booked for it. But he has in the past made statements that are very clearly Islamophobic. So the question now rises on the legitimacy of the Karnataka Bar Council, that could they not have gotten any other individuals to speak about the merits of UCC than this particular individual? And let's not make this argument that just because he's not in a political party, so he's not a political person. Everybody knowing your show, seeing your show, probably knows him. And the reason for that is that J Sai Deepak, as good a lawyer as he may be, is probably known more for his political commentary these days than for being a lawyer. And even an RSS chief can come in and say that I don't belong to a political party, therefore I'm not a political person, but that's not how it functions. He is a political person, he is furthering a political agenda,
Right.
and what's sad is that the Karnataka State Bar Council is giving him a platform to do that.
Okay. Right. I thank all our panelists. Of course, all of you have been patient and made some valid points here. Of course, for our viewers to decide. And the event actually is over. He has already spoken. So what comes out of it also is something that we're going to be keeping a very close watch on. We're slipping into a quick break. Thanking all our panelists once again.